I want to start this video off by giving you the Reader's Digest version of what you're actually going to watch in this long video coming up, so I can save you some time. And if this helps you guys out, please like and subscribe to my channel. What you want to do is when you pack bearings, don't overthink it. The objective is, which I'll show you in the video coming up, is to push your grease from the side rings all the way through, so you see grease come in from the back side of where you're pushing to the front side of where you can see an empty ring. That's the name of the game. So when I look around the edge of this bearing here, I see that that bearing is properly packed all the way around. I see that bearing is properly packed all the way around on this side. That's the biggest thing when it comes to packing hub bearings. That, and don't overfill the entire cavity with grease, because you're going to create more friction than you need to create, because you're maybe a little bit nervous on how you pack your bearings, and what it's going to do is cause too much friction. It's going to cause you to slow down. If you're going to try to go fast in something, I don't know what you're packing bearings for, but you're going to cause too much rotational friction. You're going to cause more stress on the bearings. So enjoy the video coming up, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll get you on the next one. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to pack some hub bearings for your golf cart, for your ATV, for your side-by-side, for your trailer. It's all kind of the same. You ask 10 guys how to pack bearings, 10 guys are going to tell you a different answer, but this is how I've always done it. So biggest thing with this is make sure that your workspace is clean and clear. The last thing you want is any sand to get in here, because it'll just tear your bearings up over time. So what I have here, just for demonstration purposes, is a big old gob of grease. So I have gloves on just because I might have to stop the video and go pick up my daughter at any time here. So I like to usually do this barehanded, but put a bunch of grease in your palm like this and take your bearing, and you'll see there's a little ring here on each side of the bearing. And you don't want to go at it pushing down like this, but you want to go at it like this and push down. And what you're looking to do is push the grease through the sides of all the bearings. So you come back through, push down and twist. Push the grease back through with your finger. Back in, push down and twist. And what I'm looking to see is grease forming up on the inside of this ring here. So I'll keep pushing down, push the grease back out. Now you see right here where the grease is starting to show. You can see those two little spots where the grease is starting to show underneath that bearing right here and here. That's what you're looking for all the way around. So take it, push your grease back out, push down again, keep twisting like that, and you'll see the grease kind of push through. I'll go back through, go all the way around the bearing. And really what I'm doing is my eyeballs are just right here on this little ring area where my thumb is. I'm just watching that to see the grease come through. Okay. It's really, you can kind of go through and clean the bearing off on the edges. But really what you're trying to do is pack this ring up around the edges here, and that's going to be a packed bearing. So keep going through, and you'll see it all pulling through the back side of that bearing here. That's what you're looking to do. This one looks pretty good. Okay. And then what I'll do is you got a bunch of excess back here. You don't want to jam that into the hub. You want to get that excess off of there, because what you don't want to do is just have too much grease in there. Then there's too much friction and the bearings can't really do what they're supposed to do. So we'll get this one kind of polished up here. All right, looks pretty good. Kind of roll it with your fingers. The name of the game on this stuff is to get grease all the way around the rings on both sides, packed all the way through so there's no air spots where you can have metal on metal. That's really the name of the game. And what I'll do is I'll put this bearing into the hub here. And then this is kind of a controversial thing. I've seen some guys just take a little bit of grease and kind of ring the insides of the race here, just to kind of get a little bit of grease here. I'll do it on mine because that initial roll of the bearing could potentially mar the edges of the smooth parts of the bearing. So we'll get a little bit of bearing grease on here. But what you don't want to do is just fill the whole hub up with grease, because that's going to cause you problems down the road. and then I'll kind of test it. Feels nice and yeah, you can feel there's no friction there, right? We'll go ahead and do the same thing. I like to keep a clean area. I also, if you're going to be painting this stuff, don't get grease on the outsides of the hubs. That's going to cause a mess. So I should have taken all these out of the bag. Let me take these out of the bag and I'll keep going on the video. All right, got the rest of the bearings out of the bag. So we'll go ahead and keep going here. And you guys, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, thumbs up, and if this helps you guys how to pack bearings. But I'm not really trying to get to 100,000 subs. We'll just keep pushing these bearings down into the grease, reworking the grease back out. Because what happens is when you push down and you go to pack, the grease comes into the hole. So you got to kind of fan the grease back out. And just keep watching that groove. Make sure that that grease is really packing inside of that bearing sleeve. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Okay, we'll go back through. We'll do the back side. Push, push. See that pool? You can, I try to get it on camera. Like on this spot right here, when I push down on that grease, you'll see it pool out of there. You kind of see it crush down in the palm right here in this ring. That's what you're looking for. So I know that there's a good amount of grease in that bearing. That looks really, really good. And will you do anything like this amount of grease on here? Will it harm anything by going to that hub? No, this is fine. I've seen guys just stick them in like this, but I'm trying to do a nice professional job on these hubs. So I'm trying to do it by the book here. Man, there's so many old timers that do this so many different ways, but you can buy these tools on Amazon, bearing packers and all this stuff, but it's kind of soothing. You just kind of sit down in your garage, take a minute, crack a cold one if that's your thing, and just pack some bearings. Good therapy. There we go. Get that one in there nice. And when I set them in the hubs, I make sure that they're seated all the way around here. You want to make sure they're nice and even. And then I'll give them a little twist just to kind of feel them. You never know if you got a defective bearing. You'll feel like a little like a bump kind of thing, like there's a vibration. If you feel a vibration in your bearing, pull it out, get a new bearing. Some of these cheap Chinese bearings, they're not the best, so these seem to feel pretty good. I'll put a link down below to the grease that I'm using in this video, and also a link to these hubs that I'm using on this Club Car DS. This is how to pack bearings in specifically how to pack bearings in a Club Car DS. I want to flip these over and get the bearings installed on the other side of the hubs. The bearings won't fall out of the hubs because there's so much grease in here. So let me stop the camera. I'm going to flip these over because I want to do it with fresh hands. All right, I got these flipped over. One did slide out, so that's the end that the dust cap goes on. So I'm not too worried about it. I'll just put it back in. But I'll keep packing these bearings here so you guys can see the whole process. Some people like my longer videos. Let's do it from this side so you guys can see that squish come through here. Push down and twist. Down and twist. Down and twist. And you can see it right there coming through. That's how you pack a bearing, right there. It's coming all the way around. It's all the way through. I've seen so many people make such a big deal out of this. Like, I don't know. It's just a matter of kind of thinking about what you're doing and realizing that you're trying to get grease on every part of any metal on metal. That's the name of the game. And not use so much grease where you cause a friction problem. Now, for people out there that don't like to get their hands dirty, I'll throw a link down below where you can get some of these nitrile gloves. Amazon special. They're pretty good quality. I haven't had any problem with the grease, the petroleum in the grease eating through. Like if you ever gotten gasoline on a nitrile glove, you'll notice that the glove will get really kind of puffy and unusable. It's the same stuff that's in grease, petroleum. So these have been pretty good. And I'll put a link where you can get them. You got to remember too, with bearings, as long as you do it right, This is a sealed environment in this hub. So the last thing you want, anything getting in here, is any dirt or debris or foreign material. So putting grease in here is definitely a good thing, but just not too much. And I'm seating this in here. This one feels pretty good. I thought I felt a little hesitation there, but this does feel pretty good. So I think these bearings are all right. Now, let's see how much grease this one takes. I may need some more grease. And again, here, we'll go ahead and pack this one real close to the camera so you guys can see that squish come through. Twist, push and twist, push and twist. There it is right there. Saw it come through right there? That's all you're trying to do. Thumbs up, guys. Trying to get to 100,000 subs, and I see so many YouTube videos popping up now because everyone and their brothers on YouTube, and a lot of these guys doing stuff wrong, and it's not good information to spread around. So I like to show everyone kind of the right way to do stuff, and then let people do their variation on what I show. And if you're an old timer and you see me doing this and you're like, oh my God, this guy, what is he doing? Yeah, you should be doing it this way. Put your comment down below. I'll leave it on the comment section. You guys can hash it out in the comments section. I'm always open to new ideas, new feedback, but this is the way I've done it for 25 years and 20 years. I've never had any issues with any of my bearings going bad. And you're going to grease, remember your spindle goes through the hole of this. You're going to put a little grease on here anyway, so it's okay if there's, you know, excess grease here and there. I mean, you're not, but the thing I don't want to see you guys do is fill this whole channel up of grease, because that seems to be the biggest misconception with packing bearings in any application, is filling up the whole channel with grease, because it's just too much grease. There's nowhere for, you know, the whole point is to reduce friction, not to create too much. So be mindful of how much you're putting in there. Yeah, and these feel really, really, really good. Now on the back side here is where you get a dust cap. So I'm debating on if I should show how to set dust caps on this video, but for demonstration purposes, this is your dust cap. This is a sealed ring right here. This is what seals the grease inside of the hub. So what I like to do, get some grease all on this thing, because I want it to slide in nice. I want it to seat nicely against this bearing. These are taper fit, meaning you got to get them straight before you start hammering them on, and you want to hammer evenly. I like to use a big socket wrench or some sort of socket to tap these in with. So I'll get these kind of settled on here, and I might go ahead and tap them in for the video. All right, maybe with the appropriate size tapping device, and we'll go ahead and seat these. All right, fresh set of gloves. In my particular case, I'm running a 36mm impact socket. Nice hammer. Always have rags nearby, and these are the gloves I'm running too, just so you guys know. Glove Works by Amex. These are 5mm, so it's a nice medium thickness. So I have the bearing, I have the dust caps, what the hell? I have these caps set in place here. And what I'm gonna do is get this so it's nice and even on here, right? So it's like perfectly in line with that circle, all right? And then it's just a matter of tapping this thing nice and slow. And what I'm gonna do, it's not just about bashing it down. What I'm gonna do is watch the edge and make sure that this thing is seating down accordingly. You'll see it want to walk this way. When I tap over here, you'll see it want to walk this way. It's a matter of getting it all the way seated down. See if she's going down nice. That's looking pretty good. And you'll tap it till it won't go anymore. And then also what I'm looking at is to see the contact that the boot is making with the bearing, and it needs to seal, it needs to seat against that. So actually I'm going to change my socket size, because now that I'm all the way in, I think I might be, actually no, I'm pretty good on this. Let me go ahead and keep going. Checking that seal on that bearing. See if I can get a zoom on this so you guys can see what I'm looking at. This seal in here, making sure that this seats onto the bearing. And that looks pretty good. And then I'll check the rotation. That bearing rotates nicely. So you're looking for easy movement back and forth on the bearing. You're looking for a good boot seal here on the rubber to bearing, because what this is actually doing is using this rubber to seal the space between the bearing and the rubber. So you don't want anything to get in here. No water, no sand, no nothing, because once that happens, it's over. The bearing will be shot, the hub will get rings and ridges in it, and it'll be done. So a couple more taps to make sure this is nice and even. Which looks pretty good. It's nice and evenly seated all the way around. The boot looks great. Everything looks really good on that one. So we'll go ahead and do this one. I'll leave the camera rolling. You guys can choose to stay or not. It's going down good. You feel it kind of go down and not really want to go anymore, stop hitting and feel. Check your movement. Beautiful. And the bearing shouldn't go up and down either. You'll know you're seated when it's all the way down. Feels really good now. All right. This feels pretty good. When I move the bearing, the rubber moves. On this one ever so slightly. So this feels pretty good. I think this could go down a little bit more on this edge. There we go. That's it. There we go. That's how to pack bearings on your side-by-side, how to pack bearings on a golf cart, how to pack hub bearings on a trailer, how to pack hub bearings virtually on anything that uses that type of bearing and race. So I hope this video helped you guys out. If it did, please subscribe, please like, comment if you have a better way of doing it. I'll get you in the next video. Later.